The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv. And boy, do we have a ton of stuff to talk about today.
Take it away, Mr. Chip.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to begin on I'm sorry, while I'm filling this out, we have to fill this out, otherwise, we're in trouble here because we have to log in for safety. And first of all, I've got to say a couple things about this raid, the infamous raid on Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago, yes.
Yeah, there are a lot. Look, I don't care if you don't like Donald Trump. I don't care if you love Donald Trump. I don't care if you like Biden. I don't care who you like. This is third world stuff. You can't do this.
Right.
You just can't. You just can't crush your political opponents with the weight of your own Gestapo. This is military. This is fascist tactics. And you know the thing that really got me? I was watching, I forgot what show it was, but I had taped it, and I'm very glad I taped it. But they had Justice Anton Scalia up there talking about the Bill of Rights. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, I'd never really seen that excerpt. I don't know where I was when he said it, but it was amazing to listen to the man, who was a brilliant jurist, obviously. But he said, Russia has a Bill of Rights. Venezuela has a bill. Everybody has bills of rights, but they don't work. He said, why don't they work? He said, our forefathers put together the Bill of Rights as an afterthought. He said, the key to the government in having a Bill of Rights that actually works is there's no centralized power. This is why you're supposed to have three distinct and separate parts of government. And now when you have total democratic control, and they're using the Department of Justice and the FBI, which has been totally corrupted, you watch them on television, they evade every question. Why haven't you done Hunter? Two forms of justice, one for Trump. And it doesn't matter. If you don't like Trump, you should not be applauding what they did. It's eroding this country. It's turning this country into more than a third world banana republic. You can't do this. And I would be complaining the same way if they did this to Biden or Clinton or anybody else.
Yeah, it's not about the person. It's about the action.
And it's not about the party.
That's right. It's about the action.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about the action. And when you violate our civil rights, like our mayor does regularly, okay? He was even told by the ACLU to stop it. And guess what? He's still doing it. He's still censoring.
That was one
people.
of the ones we're going to talk about today.
Oh, yeah. So this just gets worse and worse. So it starts at the top, and now it's ending at the bottom. It's starting at the top of the federal government, and now it's ending down at the top of city government. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Or the bottom of city government, depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah. No, you're right. And we'll close this little segment about shame on you people who are applauding this, because it shows you don't have any idea of history or government. Because when it happens to you, you'll be like Reverend Martin Nehemiah. I pulled this out of my archives. First they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. If they did this to the Democrats, you would be screaming. That's what CJ just said. It's not about the party. It's not about the person. It's about the way our government works. We are supposed to have fair and equal justice in this nation. They didn't raid Hillary's house, even though she bleached 33,000 top secret emails. She should be in jail for that. Equal protection under the law. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same seat as Nehemiah. There was no one left to speak when they took him into the concentration camps. You can't do this. You shouldn't be applauding it. This is a travesty. We're turning this country into a banana republic.
And the Democrats did it again with this Inflation Reduction Act bill.
Yep.
$80 billion
Yep.
given to the IRS for more investigators.
That's right.
Okay? $80 billion. The Ukraine uses $66.9 billion on a war.
Yeah.
$80 billion in the IRS for more enforcement.
Yeah.
And guess what? Guess who the enforcement
Oh, yeah.
is
But
gonna
although
get?
they said it wasn't going to be the people on the phone, but they're lying.
I
We
know.
they lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Because
lie.
the average person who gets audited makes $25,000 a year or less. The person who can least afford it are the ones that get whacked the hardest.
Of course. Listen, statistically, and this didn't happen, this statistic existed before this happened.
Right.
Just so you all know, and we can corroborate it. It's been on a lot of media sites now. If you make less than $25,000 a year as a household income, not an individual,
Right.
you are 5 times more likely to be audited. So if you're a millionaire, and like we said on the other show, it doesn't matter. These millionaires don't care. They got 165 lawyers, like General Electric. They'll go to court, they'll tie you up, you'll end up paying $1.80 or something like that. You know, it's the poor people, the nickel and diamond, just like Paul jacking up the parking meters, just like, Paul, paying people when unauthorized payments, when the city council didn't approve the change of the ordinance, he still paid people. So, and while we're on that, before we get into the total ignoring of the law again, after the ACLU has warned them, and I have that letter in here somewhere, but we already went over it. But this morning, before I left the house, I had the radio on, which is very rare for me, and they had Rumsey on. Yeah, that's right. That's what I said. And I guess they talked about the problem with the ATVs and the unregistered vehicles.
Right.
So you know what his response was? Massachusetts has the toughest laws for ATVs and unregistered vehicles being operated on the streets. Okay. Then he said, well, but they have to be enforced. Yeah. Well, we still haven't had the investigation about the drugs in the drawer. We got people who were basically should have been fired. Now they're firing a few, but they got desk duty. The police department's in a state of chaos, and I'm not blaming it on the new chief. Don't go there. Whether it was the old chief, the new chief, it's reached the breaking point. We need an outside chief to come in, or an outside entity like the state police, like they did in Cranston and stuff like that, to go there, reorganize the department, and do what has to be done. And then you can turn it back over to the chief or do whatever you want. It's out of control, but what does Paul do? Again, nothing. Nothing. People are being terrorized on the streets of Fall River, and we have lack of enforcement. Did he tell, as the laws it did, told the police, lock them up, take their ATVs away from them and destroy them? That's what they did.
Right.
Now they came from Providence to Fall River.
Exactly.
So, but what has he done? Nothing. Just like he did nothing on Malone, just like he's done nothing on anything. He does nothing except cut ribbons, schedule movies,
And
parades.
And parades.
and
yeah.
parades.
Yep.
The man is he is more than a ceremonial mayor. He's like the supreme ceremonial mayor. He's like the Queen of England. He has no governmental duties.
No, you know what I equate him to?
Who?
Chuck E. Cheese. Music, games, and food.
There you go.
Oh,
no. You left out one thing that Chuck E. Cheese doesn't have. Big pay raises for your friends.
That's true.
And big money.
Oh, no, but Chuck E. Cheese charges you a lot of money to come in. So.
I know. But big pay raises for your friends.
Yep.
While the public suffers. Big tax increases for the regular people. And a lot of money for your investor friends.
Right.
That's what Fall River's become. Probably this is as corrupt as I've ever seen it, and I've seen it when it was pretty damn corrupt. Mm-hmm. But this is corrupt. This is corruption at the infinite level, because this is ridiculous. He does nothing. Have you ever seen him address anything? I want to know, have you ever seen him get in front of a microphone about crime, about drugs, about the disaster in the school department, about the disaster in the police department, about the disaster on the streets of Fall River with ATVs? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. This man is ineffectual at best and totally incompetent on the other end of the spectrum. He was destined always to be a worker bee, never to be a leader. He has no leadership ability at all. That's why he was a vice principal. Couldn't even make principal. So in all those years, couldn't make principal because he's incapable of doing what a leader does, stand up and deal with problems. He's pretty good at getting pay raises, giving out pay raises, increasing taxes, and whining. And now we segue into the other one. He's also pretty good at shutting down freedom of speech.
Yes.
In spite of the fact that the ACLU has already put the school department and its school committee on notice that you cannot mess with free speech. And you know what he eliminated? The fact that the individual who's making all the money on a building is one of his appointees.
Right.
Didn't disclose
right.
anything, and the citizens' input called for an investigation. What's the matter with you, dummy? You're asking Paul Coogan for an investigation? Did we investigate Malone? No. Did we investigate the police department calling somebody? No. Do we investigate anything under Paul Coogan? No. What we do is give out pay raises, make all our friends rich, and don't give a damn about the people that are getting forced out of their houses and how much money we're taking and what it's doing to the city. But the individual apparently submitted a email as citizens' input, and you can take it away from here because I'm going to look it up.
Well, what's very interesting is, about this building. I didn't watch the school committee meeting, which I'm sorry I did. I didn't miss it, watch it. But $6.4 million on a building that the person paid $1.7.
Yeah.
The person who paid that is on the planning board, appointed by Paul. Obviously had, and we've talked about this before, obviously probably had an inside scoop on that they needed the building. My big question is that building handicap accessible? Because if the city's going to buy that building and it's not handicap accessible, then we got to dump millions of dollars more into it to make it handicap accessible.
Who cares?
That's the problem.
Paul doesn't care.
That's the problem. We have an administration, both on the school department side, which we've always had, and on the city side, that could care less about what happens or what is said. And that cannot be the way this government is run. This government must be run with transparency. This government must be run with accountability. What this city needs in the next election is a candidate who's going to come out and say very clearly, I will work one term. If I accomplish nothing, I will not run for a second term. Here are my plans to accomplish. 1, all these outrageous pay raises, gone. If they can't accept that, they're gone. All of the unnecessary personnel, gone. All the political appointments, gone. All the tax increases that are necessary, we'll keep. The ones that are not necessary, gone. You will save money. If a person comes out and runs responsibly and makes responsible promises and follows through with those responses, then guess what? Then we'll have a city that works for the people and not for the Cooganites.
You're right. And is this any change? He's the worst. I have to truly say, in my opinion, because I have to couch it, because it's not a, it's a matter of your own perspective. He is absolutely the worst mayor we've ever had. He has he's done zero on any issue, the true issue that faces Fall River, crime or anything. He's not held anybody's feet to the fire. As a matter of fact, they run it. But this is what happens in the cities. Look what's happened on a federal level. 87,000 IRS agents they're going to hire. Not 87,000 border guards to stop the illegal migration, right? No. They don't care. They don't care about poor people. That the illegals are not going to, they may bus them to New York, but they're not going to be anywhere near the rich people in New York. And look at our inflation rates, up around 9%. I got the inflation rates from 2009. Minus 4% in 09, 1.6, 3.2, 2.1, 1.5, 1.6, 0.1, 1.3, 2.1, 2.4, and 1.8 in 19. Pretty good, huh? Damn good. Put in somebody like Coogan. What's our inflation rate in Fall River? How much are we paying now for our government? Mm-hmm. We have to get tax rates tax increases every year. We have to get add-ons too. In addition,
true demascam. True demascam.
And we look at it, and we look at this is what they promise. Pie in the sky. People, get to the damn polls. They're starting all over the country. The wave is coming. You got to change these people, and I don't care who you elect. Elect an independent, a Republican, a bull moose party. I don't care who you elect. Get rid of these people if they're not doing their job. Let alone if they're screwing you royally, like this guy is. He's doing nothing. He won't address anything, and he tries to censor everything. He took out the fact, how can he allow one of his appointees and then not disclose it? I don't even know if that thing is legal without the disclosure.
Right.
It may not even be legal. But this is what they promise. Herald News. Fall River to sell indoor billboards inside Government Center. New Fall River waterfront gets okay from the city. And someday, so first, listen to this. You talk about, you got to be on drugs to believe this stuff, okay? If they're not selling you a bill of goods, remember where you live, Fall River. We don't have a lot of fancy places. This is a blue-collar town. And I don't have a problem with that. I've lived here all my life. I'm a blue-collar guy. This is what they write. So first, there will be grilled bratwurst and beer by the shore where you can watch the boats glide by. Doesn't it? Just think about that picture. Let it roll around in your mind.
I see Newport.
Number one. Yeah, exactly. Number one, half the people in Fall River don't know what a bratwurst is.
That's right.
Okay? And this is where I'm going to end it, because after this, I'm too nauseous to go on. And someday, hot chocolate or Irish coffee by the skating rink that will be by the shore. Skaters will glide too. Both of those dreams are approaching reality on the city's growing waterfront.
Where are they going to put an ice skating rink on the waterfront?
Look. Number one, bratwurst. Look, if you ever saw BS, if BS was bricks, you could build a chimney to the moon and have bricks left over with this stuff. This is the kind of absurdity they tell you they're going to do and never do it. This article, is there a skating rink on the waterfront? Is there a bratwurst? Is there a German restaurant somewhere on a waterfront? They're still promising stuff for the waterfront. No more bratwursts and skaters going by.
Hell, we had a chicken wing place that was really good.
That's right.
And they can't reopen.
And And what do? Nothing. That promise was made 5 years ago. 5 years ago. But here's what they do. Roderick collects third highest per diem in the Senate. Representatives collect $235,000 in per diems. This is what they do. Take your money, don't give you a tax break, and make you promises that you have to be a lunatic to believe. You really believe you're going to be sipping Irish coffee and hot chocolate, watching skaters glide by on the waterfront of Fall River. Maybe they'll trip on a toilet paper, but that's floating down a Taunton River. But listen, get real, people. We've got to get a government that works for us, not a mayor that represses speech. He didn't want to read that out in public. He didn't want everybody to be reminded that that guy he appointed, that's one of his pals.
Right.
That guy that did not disclose anything, and he's not even going to take a look at it. Just like I can't do anything about it. I got to get away from Malone. Police department's falling apart. What are you going to do? We got murders, crimes. No, we don't.
We're in the safest city.
Yeah, look. Look, I could go on forever. I got stuff going back, but this guy is just, it's ridiculous. I have to say it. I'm sorry. And I don't care what he is personally. A nice guy, not really a nice guy. The devil incarnate, or the second coming of Christ. I don't care. He sucks at this job. He sucks at this job. He is terrible. He is not a leader.
He's the Pied Piper.
And it makes me always wonder when I think about him and how abysmal he's been for 3 years. Who is the real principal? Because he's only the vice principal here. We have to determine who the superintendent is. And speaking of superintendents, we got a few more of those.
That's right.
More out of your pocketbook, right? We're going to have a superintendent in charge of everything. We have a superintendent of schools that's getting $250,000 about, $250,000 a year, and now they're going to give her a superintendent for what? The other two things now?
One's for special education.
One for special ed.
Yep. And I don't remember what the other one was.
Well, whatever. You don't have any special ed teachers? You don't have somebody in charge of special ed? Yeah, of course you do.
Right.
But now you have to have a superintendent, too, because we have a superintendent. Maybe we're going to have a dean of special ed students, too. Maybe they should get that one. They haven't thought of that one yet.
You know what they don't have yet, though? A superintendent of fecal matter.
Yes.
Because there's enough of it floating around in that department.
People, if you're not pissed by now, I don't know what's going to get you angry. Because I tell you, this is a travesty. This guy, look, you can like him, you can have a beer with him. We had a beer with Flanagan. We had the beer summit. Remember that one?
I do remember it.
Well, we sat there. I didn't drink beer, by the way. I drank soda because I can't be responsible for my. No, I don't. I'm really. People who know me know I'm not really a beer drinker. I don't like beer.
Except when you were in Germany.
When I was in Germany, I'll only drink real German beer. It's about 12 to 16% alcohol, depending on the brand, and it's much, much better. I can't drink American beer. All it does is make you want to go to the bathroom.
That's it.
I had a soda and a burger, and the other guys had beer. But we met with him. We had a conversation. It didn't go anywhere because he's a politician and we're advocates for the people. But we can meet with him. It's just like, no, if he wants to talk, we can talk. But he has to answer a lot of questions, and he doesn't want to answer them. He won't even talk about it when somebody brings it up.
That's right.
Under his First Amendment rights. Mm-hmm. This guy is just like the Biden administration. They want to suppress anybody's speech that is not in line with what they want. He doesn't want the people of the city of Fall River to know that this buddy of his, this crony of his, who he appointed to a board, is now going to make about $5 million. That's not bad.
If the school department does indeed buy the building. But, like I said, I want to see if that building's handicap accessible. Because if it's not, that means Paul's going to have to spend millions of dollars making it handicap accessible.
Yeah.
And that building was built long before handicap accessibility was ever discussed or thought about. And, you know, when you're looking at this, $6.4 million plus a potential of another $3, $4, or $5 million, that building's not worth $12 million.
Look,
that building is not worth $12 million.
That building wasn't worth the $1.7 million they originally paid for it.
Exactly.
But now, Paul doesn't care about your money. It's not his money. He doesn't care how much that's going to jack the tax rates up. He doesn't care how much that's going to, another bill for people who can't pay their bills already, 2 out of 3 people who live from paycheck to paycheck. He doesn't care. He does not care. He wants to just hide behind a curtain like the Wizard of Oz. But, you know, we keep pulling back that curtain, and we find the wizard isn't really the great and wonderful wizard. He's just a front. And that's what we got. We got from mayor. And hopefully in the next election, we're going to have somebody step up. Maybe this guy will have enough brains not to run because, I mean, he's literally pulled a Biden in Fall River.
Yeah.
I didn't think the city could get much worse, but it has. Mm-hmm. Especially for the average citizen, the working poor, and the people on fixed incomes. It's a travesty. But he actually removed stuff from the letter. They edited the citizens' input. And the ACLU, and I got that in here, and I'm not going to bore anybody with that letter again, but they told them, you can't do that, dumbos. But guess what? Like every entity in the city of Fall River, be it the city council, the school committee, the mayor, nobody gives a damn about the law, except Rumsey, who said, we got all kinds of laws against what they're doing.
Yeah, but
well, why are they doing it?
The problem is that when you have all the laws in the land that are the most restrictive laws,
Yeah.
when allegedly the mayor has instructed the chief not to enforce them.
That's true.
Okay, and again, that's an allegation. Although I will say I was confronted by Carol Fiola, who said that the mayor never said that. I don't know how she would know the mayor never said that, but she says the mayor never said that.
The mayor's also said that people didn't tell him things that they did tell him.
Right, exactly.
You know, just because he wants to duck it. But the fact is, listen, these people are violating the law. It's just like the stuff with the criminals. If you don't enforce the most restrictive gun laws are the states that have the most gun crime.
Right.
Why? He hasn't figured out that criminals disobey the laws. These people are criminals. They're conducting a criminal act. They're terrorizing the citizens of Fall River who pay your salary and all the bills. You have an insignificant, minuscule part of that. The bills. It's the people who are being terrorized that pay a hell of a lot more than you do, and you don't give a damn.
And you know what the worst part about it is? People like you and I, we're smart. We don't run for office. Number one, people don't like us. Because we tell it like it is.
Number two, we don't care.
Number two, we don't care. But people don't like us because we tell it the way it is. And the people of Fall River don't want to hear the truth. The people of Fall River like to live in their fantasy land. Well, your fantasy land is now coming back to bite you on the backside. Because guess what, mom and pop who can't afford their rent? There's a great tent for you down on Quikasham Rail Trail because they're popping up all over the place. And we're going to expand that rail trail to Westport. This way we can stop funneling the homeless into Westport.
Westport won't let them in.
I know.
They won't let
They're going to
in.
put up a big wall right at the end of that rail trail. But this is what's happening. This is what is becoming of Fall River. Fall River is becoming the place of the great unwashed masses being funneled out via a cesspool, and that's the way it is.
And what's going to happen is exactly what you said. Remember what Nehemiah said. When they come for you, there will be no one left to speak up for you.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you all for watching today. Thanks for inviting us into your home. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Friday.